for show, my butt has gotten smaller from my weightlifting days to now. So okay, before I go into this, just a little background. Hello, continuing on from the video earlier where I caught you up on my life. If you haven't watched it, make sure you go watch that. I'm just gonna move straight into answering some questions that you guys asked on my Instagram, which if you're not following, you should probably go do that now. Or not, you know, it's your choice. But I thought, in the midst of all of this coronavirus, self-quarantining, which, you guys, social distancing, I'm a professional. In the midst of all that, I've decided and realized that, like, I just want to create stuff. I want to make more videos, so here I am making some YouTube videos. I'm going to answer your guys' questions, and then I'm going to clean the dishes that I just don't want to clean. But, you know, Q&A time first. How did you find a job after graduating? So okay, before I go into this, just a little background. I'm a registered dietitian. A couple years ago, or a year and a half ago, no, it was a couple years ago, I graduated from university with a degree in nutrition and dietetics. I took my board exam, so now I am a registered dietitian. And then I started applying for jobs in like October, November, and started my job in January of 2019. I'm still working there now, and I actually found this job through my internship. So I went to this hospital for my clinical internship, and I made so many great connections. And there isn't always going to be a guarantee for a spot wherever you do intern, but I just really, really loved the dietitians that I worked with. I loved, like, it's weird to say that I really enjoyed clinical, as you guys will tell from my old dietitian vlogs. Well, not old, because they're like a year old. But I really enjoyed clinical way more than I expected, and they told me that after I graduate and after I pass my board exam, to contact them, and if there are spots available, like, they would definitely want me on their team. So I contacted them after I graduated, or after I finished my board exam, and unfortunately there were no more spots available. So I also applied to jobs fervently through websites like ZipRecruiter. I'm looking at my phone right now. Websites like ZipRecruiter or Indeed, where you make an account and you fill out your information, and then you literally just look for, like, for instance, dietitian, like clinical dietitian, and then put your location, and then job listings will come up. And like, usually they're from hospitals who are looking for employees, or they're small clinics. And I did get some interviews and I did get some job offers, but once I got really good job offers, the hospital that I now work at had an open position. My boss emailed me, and she told me that there was a per diem position available, and if I'd like to work as a per diem, to come in and interview. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I knew I would be starting school soon, so I knew that working part-time, like on an actual schedule, or even full-time, would be too much. So I decided, like, okay, per diem is what I want, because I can make my own schedule, and I'm not really like contracted or obligated to work as much as a part-time or full-time position. So I got that job, and that's where I've been working since. And it's really nice because it's really flexible. I have been working on the weekends mostly. Now I just work a day or two a week, since I'm trying to juggle like school and work together. How to get motivated when you feel lazy or tired. So the first thing is, do you feel lazy or do you feel tired? Because they're two very different things. If it's lazy, then figure out your why. Give yourself a list of reasons why you should be doing what you're trying to do or what you're trying to accomplish. Because honestly, if you have no why, then there's no point. And another thing to do is distinguish between lazy or tired. If you're lazy, that's one thing, but if you're tired, you probably actually do need to take a break. Maybe there's just so much going on in your mind right now that you really can't commit to doing another thing, which is what I felt like I was experiencing last semester. So like a couple months ago, when I was trying to do school part-time along with 3 other part-time jobs, it was a lot. And I know that there's a lot of you who do like full-time work plus full-time job. Like, hats off to you. I get energetically drained very easily, so I just had to reevaluate. Like, I'm not being lazy, I'm not failing at school, I'm just literally not remembering anything because I'm so tired. I'm like internally tired, even though I've had a decent amount of sleep. You know, I've just been so chronically stressed out that it's made my insides and my outsides tired. So your first motivation is, if you're lazy, figure out your why, write it down, talk to somebody, get yourself accountable. But if you're tired, you might need to just rest. Take a little break, resume later. What is your favorite thing about yourself? I feel like I'm gonna get a little emotional. Right now, I feel like my favorite thing about myself is that I am continually trying to break the boundaries of being comfortable so that I can grow. And I love that I have that kind of bird's eye knowledge where I see that this point of discomfort in my journey only means that the metamorphosis is right on the other side of the door. And I love that I know that, and I love that I'm like just trying to push my way through it. On a lighter note, I love my sense of humor, even though it's not everybody's cup of tea. I really expect nobody to laugh at what I'm saying or what I'm thinking. I just find myself and my thoughts so amusing. I could literally spend a whole entire, I do spend days by myself. I love that I know how to spend time with myself, and I can like keep myself occupied, and I find myself amusing and I'm not just being bored. How do you feel about only doing yoga? Have you noticed any changes mentally or physically? I freaking love it. I love yoga so much, but I also love working out. Don't get me wrong. I love hitting the weights. I love that high intensity stuff. But I feel like yoga, if you don't have that much time to exercise, is perfect, because you can use that hour not only to benefit your body in terms of muscle strengthening, yes, I said strengthening, and lengthening, but also to relieve stress, to be mindful. So it's like a 7-in-1 type of experience that you get in that hour of doing yoga. I also love it because I can do it anywhere, and I also love it because it means that I don't go to the gym as much, and it means that I'm not constantly comparing myself with other people or what I see in the mirror or with what I expect my body or a human body to be. Yoga really teaches someone that what matters in this world is not your physical body, even though the physical practice is really integral in yoga nowadays. But true yoga, the essence of yoga, is union. A union between your mind, your body, and your spirit, and that is most commonly done by connecting with your breath. And just by speaking with you here, being aware of my inhales and exhales, and just by you sitting here, being aware of breathing in and feeling the air move into your into your nostrils and through your lungs and back out. That is yoga. Just like being connected and being united, and practicing only yoga every day has really taught me that union is what is the most important. And it doesn't matter what your body looks like. It doesn't even matter how toned or muscular you are or how many calories you burn. What really matters is just you being connected and feeling at peace and relieving that stress. Because let's face it, a lot of us use exercise as a form of stress relief, right? But it doesn't really allow us to sit with our feelings and like realize that there is a huge number of ways to relieve stress without stressing your body out. And there are actually a lot of changes I've noticed mentally, so that aspect, but also physically. Like for sure, my butt has gotten smaller from my weightlifting days to now. For sure. But I also do notice that I have a much stronger core. I have a lot stronger shoulders, back, and arms. I do have less muscle, yeah, but the muscle that I do have is extremely functional, and I want to say very, very strong when it comes to the yoga practice. I feel like the strength that I used in weightlifting has diminished but has transferred itself into yoga strength, because if you've done a yoga class, if you've practiced yoga in a class with a teacher who's quite challenging, then you'll know that yoga, it can be difficult. It can be challenging if you want it to be. Next question is, what is your current self-care routine? Waking up super early in the morning and just like having those hours to do whatever I want. And surprisingly right now, it's not exercise. It's not even yoga most of the time. It's like I wake up, I drink water, I sit in like the quietness of the morning. I go on my phone sometimes, even though apparently that's a no-no. I love doing it because I can go on Twitter and like laugh at funny things, even though recently it's been a lot about coronavirus, which is sad. but I'll read a book, I'll journal sometimes in the morning. Lately I've been cleaning, that's been my thing, and I notice that when I'm doing these things, I feel my heart is like filling up even more, and the day hasn't even completely started yet. And just by acknowledging that I take those hours in the early morning to really fill that space of me time and quietness and like not doing anything, no rushing. It's kind of like this limbo time where I get to do what I want. That's like my biggest form of self-care. And then obviously the things that come next are eating well, moving regularly, so going on walks, doing yoga. And this is a really big one, addressing assumptions that I've made about people and like just making things clear, because I feel like if we have negative assumptions in our head, like, oh, so-and-so thinks this and so-and-so thinks that, and you know, they're mad at me, I think. But just holding that in there grows the poison in your heart. But when you can express that and ask, like I do this with Luke all the time. I'm like, I feel like you're really annoyed with me, or I feel like you're mad. Is this valid or not? If it is, like, let's talk about it. But if it's not, just like let me know, but this is just how I'm feeling. And like being able to express that is one, respecting my own feelings by standing up for myself. And then that just becomes a self-care thing, because I am kind of cleaning out the gutter and making it clear for new thoughts and better emotions to flow through, if that makes sense. Somebody noticed that I've become so much more confident and wants to know what I did or how I did that. Having been through so much bullshit of being uncomfortable and insecure with somebody else, or being around people who make you feel insecure, surrounding yourself with those kind of people on the daily can really, really mess up your mental health. And once I started surrounding myself with people who respects me and accepts me for who I am, it really makes a huge difference. But I think the biggest thing is just to even exercise that. I decided, like, I'm so tired of not speaking my mind and like not being 100% myself with everyone around me, that I'm just gonna do it, and whoever wants to stay can stay, and whoever doesn't want to, like, you can go. I'm not trying to be a malicious person, and I never ever am, so I know that. And if somebody takes it the wrong way, then they take it the wrong way. I can communicate with them the best that I can. I can be kind, but at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't like me, it's not about me. It's about perceptions that they have in their own head. And just practicing that and sending people love no matter what has really made a huge difference in my own confidence, because then I know that it's okay if everyone else like doesn't accept me, because at the end of the day I can accept myself, and I have a higher tolerance to what I will accept for myself. So I think confidence is like, I'm sure you've seen this quote around where it's like, confidence is not will they like me, but it's okay if they don't like me or whatever. So yeah. And I also started going into situations thinking not, you know, will these people like me, or I'm so scared because what if they don't like me? Now my thoughts are like, am I going to enjoy them? Am I going to like their presence? I just flip-flopped the question, and it made a huge difference, because why am I thinking about everyone else first before me? Why am I like, I should be thinking about myself first so that I can better help other people. I should be putting myself in situations that I can foresee I would enjoy, or, you know, I should just be looking out for myself in general first. And that has helped me come like a long way in terms of confidence. I'm still working on it. I'm not 100% confident, obviously. Who really is 100% confident every day? But I definitely feel like I am more confident now. This is the last question that I'm going to answer, because I feel like it's gotten kind of long. But what are your favorite and least favorite things about clinical dietetics, or your job as a dietitian in the hospital? So my least favorite thing is it's really hard to do educations with patients who had just had a heart surgery. Like, even though we're required to do it, I already know that they're not listening, or that they're not going to remember this when they get home. Like, think about it. You just had a surgery. People are coming in and out of your room. You really think this next person in a white coat is going to have information that you're going to remember off the bat? I know that the hospital bed is not the most conducive place to make a good progressive change. Like, even though I give the education, it doesn't mean that the patient is going to go home and all of a sudden eat whole grains and eat vegetables. Nutrition intervention needs to be monitored and revisited, and you need to have a long-term dietitian, or like you know, somebody that you can stay accountable with that knows nutrition information properly in order to make and sustain that change. So that's where I feel like it's frustrating. But on the flip side, what I love about it is I get to spread the information about nutrition to people, especially because I'm the only one, I think, in the hospital who talks, or like of the dietitians who talk about and encourage a fully plant-based diet for especially the patients with heart disease. I've told you guys this before, but I'll just tell you again. I don't tell them to go vegan or vegetarian. I kind of bring it up the same way someone would bring up like a low carb diet to lose weight. You know, it's like, oh, this is an option. These are the benefits, but yeah. Also, I'm not saying that you should go on a low carb diet to lose weight. I'm just saying like that's what people did. So I'm using that as like a normal people example. So when I go give like educations, I talk about the tenets of a heart healthy diet, for example. And, you know, lower your saturated fat, lower your cholesterol, eat more fiber, eat more healthy omega-3 fatty acids, eat more fruits and vegetables. Also, there's this thing called a whole food plant-based diet that's been shown to halt, prevent, and reverse signs and symptoms of heart disease. Check it out. It follows pretty much the same as the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics information on a heart healthy diet, but, you know, you can do research. Let me know if you have any questions. Ta-da! In a nutshell, that's how I feel like I'm able to share my own passion without making it too invasive. And that's also what I love about it. Obviously, not everyone's gonna go 100% vegan when I talk to them, but I have had the pleasure of meeting people whose spouses have gone plant-based and they're like, see, Roger, that's what I was telling you about. That's why I decided to go vegan. Listen to her. It's the best. Another thing that I love about the job is just getting to learn all of the different conditions that go on in the hospital and having that knowledge and experience when I go out in the real world and see people like make different food choices or ask me questions. I've learned so much from working in the hospital that it's like half school to me and half work. There's always a lot of different cases, always fun stuff to do. There's a lot of charting, but you know, it's worth it. It's worth sitting down for another 4 hours. So those are the questions for this Q&A today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you are having a wonderful morning, day, noon, or night, wherever you are, and that you're staying safe and sanitized and hydrated throughout this whole thing, which, that reminds me, I need to drink water. You know, I haven't been drinking water all freaking morning. Okay. I'm gonna sign off now. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day in watching this, or I don't know what you're doing right now, but I'm sending you lots of love no matter where you are, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Bye.